Hello and welcome to Stay Paid, the sales and marketing podcast from ReminderMedia, where we bring you actionable advice to help you grow your business so you can live a life of freedom tomorrow, but only if you take action today. My name is Joshua Stike, and I am joined, as always, by Luke Acree.
What's up, everybody?
And our guest today is an up-and-coming superstar in the real estate world with Present Financial Properties. From Murrieta, California, Kyle Wade works with another star we've had on the podcast, his broker, Sina Azari.
Yes, and if you guys didn't listen to that interview, you need to listen to that because Sina crushed that interview.
Absolutely. Kyle attributes his success to his mindset of never giving up and an entrepreneurial mentality of wanting to get better every single day. Kyle Wade, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Kyle, super excited to have you on. I remember meeting you at the Disruptor, and Sina has spoken super highly of what you're doing, and he really describes you as like a go-getter hustler. So excited to have you on, especially because you're newer in real estate, right?
Yeah, I am.
Yep.
Fairly new.
So yeah, and it's going to be, we have people that listen to our, podcasts that are just jumping into the business. I know my brother's only been in the business for 2 years. And so I think you're going to add some really incredible insights to the challenges that you're facing and how you're kind of hitting the ground running to grow your business. But if you could kind of take a minute or two to introduce yourself to our audience and really share with them your story, like what got you into real estate, how are you doing right now in your real estate business? What are some of the struggles you're facing? Just introduce yourself to the audience and tell them a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for everyone to know, since we talked about I am younger, I'm only 20 years old. I've been in real estate for 6 months now. Prior to real estate, I was in a community college for 1 year, kind of like a semester.
I love it. I went to community college as well, man. So no shame there.
Yeah, and school isn't for me, but the only reason I was going to school is because I was playing baseball. Like, baseball is a very huge thing in my family. I grew up playing baseball. My brother plays professional baseball.
Oh, wow.
So that's why I was going to school to pursue that. And then I was dealing with an injury for the last, still in for the last 3 years now, a back injury. And so my mindset was always to become a professional baseball player. But the last 2 years, I was like, hey, things aren't going the way it's planned. I need a backup plan, really. And it's weird because it's a very random vision that I had. But what brought me into real estate when I stopped playing baseball, it was I had this vision when I was a kid that I too was one was to be a baseball player, and the other one is we had next to my high school there was this one dirt road with a few beautiful houses. I had this very random vision of me driving a Range Rover with a suit on, being a real estate agent. Dude, it's the weirdest. It's the weirdest
freaking random. I like the Range Rover though. I do like Range Rovers, man.
Yeah, dude, it's very odd. But so the last year in community college, I stopped playing baseball. I was like, you know what? I'm just one of those guys who I always need to be doing something. Just if it's improving myself, if it's taking action on something, I need to be doing something to make money. Try to make money. And real estate was the option for me. And I have a really good friend who I grew up with who got into real estate before I did. And he's young too. He's my age, and he's seen some good success at his age.
Awesome.
And it just really inspired me to just jump into it. Now here we are 6 months later.
Awesome.
Doing pretty well.
No,
I think we're doing pretty well. Yeah.
I love it, man. So tell us, because you're newer in the business, and I'm sure you've heard the stats, and this is not to discourage you, hopefully to motivate you. 87% of realtors fail within the first 5 years, right? And so what are you doing in your business today to really grow your business, or how are you hitting the ground running, to generate leads for your business and really get buyers and sellers?
Yeah, for me, there's a few things. One, to speak on the whole 87% statistic, I think a reason why a lot of people do fail in the first year is because real estate, you fail so much in this. I'm sure your brother knows, cold calling, going to meet people. A lot of people don't like to be solicited to.
Yep.
A lot of times you get told to F off. A lot of people don't know how to deal with, broken contracts.
There's nothing like your first FU. I've experienced that a couple times.
Exactly. It puts a lot of weight on you, and so a lot of people don't know how to deal with that. And luckily, I grew up playing sports where there is a lot of failure, so I learned how to deal with that adversity. So that's one thing that helps. But the main ways I'm staying really growing my business is it's a few things. One, I think we're trying to take an angle at every situation, or angle every opportunity. And what I mean by that is everyone's trying to find out the best ways to get leads. And the way I think of it is I want to hit them with every angle that we can. You know, if it's door knocking, cold calling, email marketing, going to networking events, like just every angle that we can get. So we're constantly in their face 24/7. Because everyone knows at least 5 to 10 real estate agents. It's a matter of, can you be in front of their faces as much as possible to when the time finally comes for them to sell a house, they think, this guy, Kyle, just has been emailing me for the last 6 months. Like, let me give him a call.
Dude, then I agree with you 100%. That's what Gary Keller would say, is it's all about that mind share.
Yeah, I think consistency is a very vital part of it.
Okay.
Because, I mean, if I email someone, if I have one good cold call, and if I don't follow up with them consistently for the next 6 months, they're not going to remember me. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, no, I totally. So who are you cold calling? Who are you cold calling? Like,
right now,
what leads do you cold call?
Yeah, so right now it's expireds, which are tough. Okay. They don't like us. For sell by owners.
That's when you know. That's when you know they know you. Yeah. They don't like you.
Yeah. For sell by owners, I've had some really good traction with. So I'm really happy with that. And the other one I'm trying to do is what I've been doing. It's a lot. I contacted my title group and told them to give me a list of every single homeowner in Orange County that owns at least 3 properties. If it's investment properties or non-occupied owners.
Nice.
So I reach out to them and say, hey, like, listen, like, I realize you own several properties in the area. If you're not getting the money back that you expected, if you want to get rid of it, let's have that conversation. Or if you even want to add to your real estate portfolio, let's have a conversation about it.
No, that's awesome. Have you gotten good response from that? Even if it's not a closed deal, like leads in the funnel, I should say.
Yeah, I've gotten emails, I've gotten contact information, but not a true, like, let's actually have this conversation right
now. Perfect. But I love that.
That one's still in the process.
One of the things I would say is, like, my brother's similar idea. He gets absentee owner list. Yeah. So they own properties, you know, obviously, and he'll call those. And he's had some decent success with that. I think he's closed a couple of deals this year off of that. I'll have to get the exact number so we can post it in the show notes. But, you know, same type of idea that you're talking about, which is calling, you know, people who own multiple properties and stuff like that. Or even like you think of abandoned properties. Now, I don't know in your area if there's a ton of abandoned properties.
There's not too much. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of non-occupied owners. And I think another thing, too, if any agents are listening, which I'm sure there are, is for sale by owners. I think it's a really good, if you can stick to a really good script and get comfortable with it, I've found a lot more success in that rather than expired.
So where do you get your leads? Where do you get your leads for sale by owners?
We pay an online company that gives us all the numbers.
Awesome. Do you mind sharing the name just so if somebody listening wants to look it up?
It's called Vulcan 7.
Love it. Yep, I've heard
Vulcan
of them.
7.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah, they do really good work, and they give you training videos, they give you scripts.
That's awesome.
They give you the whole 9 yards.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
It's really cool.
Do you use their scripts, or do you guys use somebody else's scripts or your own?
We do use their scripts. The one thing that we really try to do is adding our own touch to everything that we do.
Nice.
Even if it's just our style on like our content, it's always adding our own touch, like that personality to it.
Yep.
So I try to get as more personable as I can with these scripts.
No, I love it.
When you go like script by script, and when you go script by script, they can kind of sense that, like, oh, you're just reading off a book. Like, you know, if you have a conversation, like, if you be a friend with them, they're a lot more open to, you know.
Oh, I totally agree. I always tell people, no Academy Award or Oscar was ever won by a script. Doesn't mean the script wasn't fantastic, but it's won by an actor who takes the script, personalizes it, makes it their own, and puts their own kind of touch on it, for lack of a better word.
That own little touch, exactly.
Exactly. I love that.
It goes a long way too.
What's the hardest? So you're prospecting for sale by owners. What's the hardest things that you're facing with the for sale by owners that you would share with the audience? Like what is the things that you're finding both good and bad?
The good thing is, let's start with the good thing. A lot of them, I thought going into sale by owners that they're just completely against real estate agents, that they just hate us. And I found out that a lot of them just don't really know what they're doing. And they have a misconception of what can be done about the whole real estate transaction. So I just think they don't have the information needed. But the bad part is that a lot of them don't want to give out their money, which I understand. I mean, they've worked hard for their money. They don't want to give it away. And when you try and come tell them that, hey, like, listen, I can net you more money even after my commission, it's hard to convince someone to see that vision that you have. Regardless of how much you believe in your vision and your plan, it's hard to convince someone that too.
Yep.
So I think that's the hardest thing is. Yeah.
I agree with you, man. We literally just did a podcast on objections, literally like right before this podcast. And one of the things we were saying is that, you know, you're logically convincing them there by saying to them, hey, you know, Kyle, if I net you the amount of money you want to make, even after my commissions, would that make you happy? Is that what you would be after? And most people logically will say, well, yeah, if you net me the amount of money after you make your commissions, yeah, that's fine. But they still don't want to. Right, correct. But they still don't step forward. And what I was sharing on the objections podcast was that, hey, the reason why they don't is because it's the irrational fear. It's they don't believe you can do that, or they don't want to, you know, they have this irrational fear. So you're dealing with an emotional person or an irrational, you know, thing, which is okay. We're all irrational when we buy things or when we're scared to purchase things. And so you have to literally you have to call that on the carpet, and you have to, you know, I give the magic line to people: share from your heart. Hey, do you mind if I share from my heart with you? I'm about to tell you you're irrational. You mind if I share from my heart with you?
No, that's a really good point too. It's true that, I mean, that happens all the time. Like I was calling this morning. I set the appointment. Luckily, so I'm stoked on that.
Nice, man. Nice.
But it was a big property, and this guy was listening. He was like, listen, like, I'm not really against agents. Like, I don't mind you. I appreciate you giving me a call. I just don't logically see how you can bring me in more money. It's like, my house is beautiful. It can sell by itself. There's just, I get your point of the expertise thing. Like, you have the knowledge, but there's no way that you can bring me even more money. Like, my house is only worth so much. And he goes, you know what? Like, send me an email, like some bullet points, and I'll get back to you. I was like, dude, like, listen, like, I know you don't want me on the phone, but there's no way in hell I can describe what we can do for you over an email. Like,
I love that, dude. That's direct.
Yeah. Like, you really just have to feel the energy of it. Because the energy, it's the biggest thing, you know?
It is, man. Yeah.
If you,
No, keep going. I love it.
Yeah, and then I talked to this guy for literally half an hour just on the phone. And he's not too far, so I was like, listen, like, I was like, before I give you any information, like, I'm not going to send you an email. I'm being honest with you. I'm not going to send you an email.
Yes.
You need to see me in person. You need to see my face. Like, let me just come by for 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. Let me shake your hand. That's it. That's all I want is a handshake. And he's like, all right, man, I'll be home this weekend.
So good.
I have an open house this weekend. You can go. It's an open house. It's still an open house. It's like, still, like, okay, like, I'm going to come by. I'm going to talk to you. Like, you will see my face that day. Dude,
that's the golden nugget. Guys, that is a golden nugget right there that he just dropped. I mean,
exactly.
Huge golden nugget for everybody listening to this. Is, you know, it's not necessarily at that point about the logic. It is about the energy, enthusiasm, passion. And you broke it down to being real. Hey, man, you're not going to, there's no way in hell I could describe to you what I can do by sending an email. I'm not sending you an email. And that sounds almost offensive as you're practicing it, but it's not. It's real. It's real.
It's true.
And that's why that guy perceived you really well. You were real with him. You were direct with him, real. You shared from your heart, as I like to call it. And he bought that. And it doesn't mean, you know, hopefully we'll have to follow up with you to see if you get the listing. But you earned
I hope so.
You know what you just did? You earned the right to give him your presentation. So many other agents will have given up and not pushed and not been real or shared from the heart, and they didn't earn the right for the presentation, and you did. How many FSBOs are you calling a day? Like, what is your, could you walk us through so agents can kind of have a benchmark for themselves? Like, how many calls are you making a day? How does that work for you?
So the beginning of each month is when we usually have like this big list. And I'll give you an example. The beginning of this month, the first day, me and Mario combined probably called like 300 people.
Awesome.
Cause me and Mario work side by side. We called out 300 people the first day. And then after that, it's about maybe 50 to 100 people each.
Okay.
So we'll call, cause I mean, there's not too many new first seller owners every day.
Yep.
So what we do, we have a system to where we call the new ones, and we divide it up. We call the new ones, which is a good amount. And then we go back and we call the ones that didn't answer in the past.
Okay.
I mean, those ones add up a lot because not everyone answers.
Right.
So it's typically about like 100 people a day.
100 people a day. Awesome. How many appointments are you guys tracking for yourself? And, you know, it's okay if you're not, but meaning, are you tracking like how many calls you have to make to appointment?
I need to do a better job on that. I'm glad you brought that up. I know Mario does a really good job on that. For me, it's about, so let's see, last week I set 3 appointments.
Awesome.
Of 3 days. So I would say about 100 calls.
100 calls to appointment? Yeah, that's not bad at all, man.
Last week,
and obviously all of them are not answering.
Oh, yeah, a lot of them are not answered. Yep. But last week I spent 3 days cold calling because it was a busy week for me. But those 3 days I scheduled 3 appointments.
That's awesome, man. So you're doing cold calling, you're calling FSBOs, and you're calling expireds. Mm-hmm. Expireds aren't going as well for you guys, but and then you're also calling the list of property owners that own more than one property. So that's awesome. Are you doing any like door knocking? Because you said you're kind of taking the action of you want to be everywhere and anywhere, and I think that's a really good point. Grant Cardone was asked a question one time, which really stood out to me, which was, "Hey, Grant, if you got into real estate, what would you do?" And he said overnight he would become a celebrity. And then he went on this kind of rant that said, I would go to the local radio stations, I go to local TV stations, I go knock on every door in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And he basically said what you said, which is I'm going to do everything to get my word out there, because he believes the same thing you believe. It's all about that mind share, where Gary Keller says you got to be number 1 or number 2, because they're going to choose either number 1 that pops into their mind, and chances are they go with number 1, but you might have a 25% chance they go with number 2. So you got to be in that moment, you got to be the first in their mind. So door knocking, are you doing that?
We are. So Mario has this crazy plan that we've been doing. Mario is crazy, let me tell you.
We're gonna have to tell Mario to get on this show.
Yeah, he does love his dog's here in the office. He just left. He just walked out.
Nice.
But what we're doing is Mario has this big atlas, and each day we set out. And our farming city, we go out and we pick 1 or 2 neighborhoods, and we pick the streets and how we're gonna what order we're gonna hit the streets in. And that's the plan for today. And then the next day, we pick out a new neighborhood, new street, and that's where we go to. Okay. So Mario has this big map that we keep in his car.
How has that turned out for you guys, leads-wise? Have you guys generated a lot of leads from that, or how's that been
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay, what's your thoughts?
The way we're looking at it,
yeah, go ahead.
The reason why, I believe, is because right now we're in the stage of still breaking into this neighborhood.
Okay.
So, because we just switched up our farm.
Okay.
And so now we're kind of, this week was like our welcoming into the neighborhood.
Gotcha.
So we didn't really shake too many hands. What we focused on was giving them gifts.
Oh, nice.
For Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Okay.
So we're sending out a postcard with a local business, so they see that, and then coming up the next time with gifts, and then after that we're gonna follow up with a handshake and like, hey, by the way, did you see our postcard, and go from there.
Awesome. Yeah. So what's you guys' goal for, as you look, obviously goals are super important. What's your goal for the year in real estate? Like what type of volumes are you guys looking for?
For the rest of this year or for next year?
For next year, really, because we're already at the end.
For next year, me personally, 10 million.
10 million in volume? Wow, man.
10 million.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think, whether it's high or low, I think it's good to have not only a high goal, but like a reasonable goal too.
No, I agree.
I think I agree. You need 100%. To have like a dream goal that people think are like that's crazy. I think you should also, in your own book, have this realistic goal to where it's, because for me, it's like when I see, like I used to have like this big goal in my room, and I would so easily lose sight of what I needed to do to reach that because it was so far away.
Yep.
And I couldn't see the end game in it. Mm-hmm. But now when I have like this a little bit of a smaller, reachable, attainable goal, I'm able to remind myself like, hey, I'm this much closer to that goal. It's like I can almost feel it.
Dude, that's another golden nugget right there. It really is. I think, people mistake their big goals. Those are really your vision boards, and they should inspire you. They should be a vision, but you really do need tangible goals. We call them SMART goals here, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, to where you can hold yourself accountable to, because it's really hard to hold yourself accountable to a vision board, even though I believe in vision boards, if you read Think and Grow Rich.
Exactly.
And those
me too.
So I think
I really think those small goals, are good.
Yep. Do some smart goals to keep you accountable. So what has been the biggest struggle? You're 6 months into the business. You have a lofty goal of 10 million, right? You're doing some of the necessary things. And I love picking your brain about the specifics that you're doing, because I think everybody listening to this, that's what they want to know. They want to know, okay, what is this guy doing?
Yeah.
Like he's doing 100 calls a day and you're having success in FSBOs and those type of things. What's been the biggest challenge in your first 6 months?
I think experience.
Okay.
Just knowledge too. I think we're in a business that experience is a very huge thing. And not saying I'm not knowledgeable in this field. I am. It's just you're going against. I mean, Orange County is one of the biggest markets there is for real estate. And we're going against huge names, and a lot of these guys have like so much leverage and knowledge underneath the belt and experience.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that homeowners look for is, I mean, they're dealing with their biggest financial asset that they have. So a lot of times it's difficult to convince people to trust someone younger to sell their home rather than someone who's 60 years old and has 30, 20 years of experience, you know?
Oh yeah, man. I feel you, man. I feel you. I mean,
So I mean, I mean, there's a lot of guys that's like, why would I trust you? You're 20 years old. So that's why I don't mention my age, like really never.
Yep.
But it's happened. It's like, why should I trust you? Why would I trust you?
And what's your kind of strategy right now to overcome that? Because we have obviously new real estate agents. I know this specific objection that you're talking about. My brother has complained about the same thing. He's younger. He's just new in. And even if you're not younger, you might be just new into the business. You could be, this is your second job after retiring, but you're still new and you don't have the experience. Like, what are some of the things you find that are working? It might not be the magic formula, but what's helping you? What are some of the things that are working to help you overcome that?
Definitely leveraging social media.
Okay.
Leveraging social media, using because there's a lot of millennial home buyers nowadays.
Okay.
So that's two really ways that you can.
So going after more of a target that you fit into. Okay, that makes sense.
And even with older home buyers or sellers, I should say, they have no idea what social media is. And even if I'm competing with an agent that has experience with social media, knows how to leverage it. If I can come at them with a more of a stronger approach with social media and show her the details and specifics of what we're going to target and how we're going to target it, it kind of gives me a leg up on that.
No, I love that.
Just knowing social media,
I think
ads, knowing how to.
Well, I think you're building trust there. When I look at it, and you're building, I shouldn't even say trust. Trust is not the right word, although that's happening. You're building authority, like altitude. So you're sharing something with a homeowner that they don't know about. And then they also, people obviously attribute social media to younger people. And so they go, oh, well, this kid, when your computer breaks, who do you give it to? You give it to your kids to fix, right? So they're thinking to themselves, well, you're right. Social media is the thing, nowadays. So maybe this kid does know better than maybe the older realtors that are out there. So I think that's super wise. And then I think you made another great point, which is, a lot of times, guys, you're not, and I shouldn't say a lot of times, every time, you're not going to sell everybody. Everybody in the world is not going to do business with you. You've got to find the people that fit into your niche, for lack of a better word, that you specialize in. And I think you're naturally doing that. So I think that's really, really awesome. So
another thing is that I want really quick is that a lot of these older agents out here too, agents or anywhere really, is that they're so used to just throwing these listings on Zillow and waiting for the buyers to come to them. They're so complacent. They're so complacent.
Yeah.
There's so many complacent agents out there that a lot of people, they hear you say that and they're like, wow, like I wonder what my past agent really did to go find a buyer. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you can show like how you're actively, if you can show how you're actively going to search for your buyer, they really put the deep thought into that seller.
Yeah. Well, Kyle, you attribute, you mentioned a lot of your success to this entrepreneurial mentality. And we see this a lot, even in our own business. The more that people start thinking about, if this were my company, what decisions would I make? How has that mentality, how has that attitude helped you in the first few months here of your real estate career? How do you see that kind of shaping how you approach your business?
I think it's helped me out a lot. I think one, when you have the entrepreneur mindset, you're kind of, you block out everything from the outside. Like all the negatives, all the F-offs you get on a phone call, you gain this mindset of ignoring it. And that takes away, when you adopt that mindset, it takes away a lot of fear. Because the biggest thing for me when I first started this real estate career was I was still kind of scared of cold calling, door knocking, going out, meeting people, shaking people's hands that I've never met in my life. And the more I adopted this mindset, which I always have had, just not to this extent with business, you learn how to just not care.
Yeah, dude.
And once you stop caring about what's going, dude, once you stop caring about what's going on the outside and just focus on you, and regardless of what someone says to you back, it doesn't matter. If they say F off, screw it. Like, I don't want to work with you anyways. Yeah. Like, that's fine.
That's the next one.
Like, yeah.
That is such the great, that is the entrepreneur mindset. That, and it applies to products too. It's like, hey, if I can invent this, I can create that. Elon Musk, man.
I can do anything, right? If you're doing it, I can do it.
Yeah, exactly. He does. I mean, he does the most crazy things.
Fear holds back so much from people. I think if you can just overcome that fear, I mean, that's when your potential goes through the roof. Because now nothing's holding you down. That's the only thing that holds people down is fear.
Oh, dude, I agree, man. And it's a lot of times the fear of what people will think of your failure. It's not really even the fear of you don't care if you fail. Like, you do, but you can deal with it. A lot of times it's what other people are going to laugh at you, say about you, think about you. It's amazing how our lives just get dictated by the thoughts of others. It's terrible.
Absolutely.
It's terrible.
Absolutely.
So, Kyle, what would you say are a couple that we always ask on every podcast for our guests? What do you say, kind of 2 or 3 things that you're doing every day, you know, when your feet hit the ground in the morning, that are driving success in your business, in your personal life? What are some things that you've developed into your routine that are driving success?
Morning preparation, I would say. Really, just like before anything, it's just preparing my mind for my day and remembering the small goals for that day. Because I used to just wake up, come to the office, get on the phone and not prepare, not role play, not think about what I have to do for the day. When I was doing that, that's when I got the most like, dude, what the hell are you talking about on the phone? Like, screw off. I would mess up a lot of my scripts. And then like midway through the day at 12 o'clock, I'm like, what should I do now? And when I think about that, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to lunch, maybe. Like, I'm still young. Like, I'm just going to go home and play some PS4 real quick. Like, it's, and when I started developing like these morning preparations, my cold calling got better, my door knocking got better, and my productivity was through the roof. Cause now I knew exactly what I needed to do through the day. Yeah. And I have this accountability for myself that I know I need to do it.
That's awesome.
And so that's what I think. Yeah. That morning mindset preparation really helped a lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's such a common thing. I mean, we hear so many people saying it, it's taking the time, and what you're showing right there is a juxtaposition of here's what it was before I did that. Here's what my day is after I did that. And you've walked us through specifically, what you're doing every single day with your lead generation efforts. So I think it's super clear in what's happening. So I know you're not like super deep into your career yet. You're still young, but what would you do? What would you tell younger Kyle if you could change one thing, kind of either starting out or whatever it might have been in your business? What's one thing that you would do differently that our audience could hear and learn from?
I think consistency in the very beginning. I mean, when I first started, I think I was still very ahead with like social media, like my marketing campaigns. I was very good with that. I just sucked at following up. And when I got a lead in,
Dude, everybody is.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. I don't think you ever really perfect it. But I was like, hey, maybe I was like, should I call them? Is this the right time to do it? And I lost a lot of good leads. So if I can go back and I would just, once I got that lead, just screw it, call them, like take action really, and stay consistent with that lead. I lost a lot of good leads.
Because now I think, the value of the pipeline, the value of following those leads through, you're starting to see the value that those connections, that interaction, even no matter how small it is, how do I then move that to the next stage of my funnel? Now you're starting to see what the value of that is. I think all of us have gone through that for sure.
And it's the fighting the natural tendency of instant gratification. We all live in an instant gratification game, and we want it right now and don't realize that, hey, man, in real estate, average transactions like 14 months or something to nurture a lead. It's crazy. So, no, that's awesome, man. I agree with you 100%. Consistency and take action. I love it. We're like kindred spirits. We're like brothers.
He has better hair, though.
Yeah, he does, man. He has freaking awesome hair.
No, dude, it's crazy. I need to cut it. It's crazy. One other thing, too, man, I've kicked myself so hard for this is get people's information. I've had, I'm still mad about it right now. So I can't talk, like, I hate talking about it, is I've had such good leads, like in person, like face to face, such good freaking leads. And I didn't get their information. I just really, I believe that they would call me. And they never called me. So, and
I've experienced that same pain.
Yeah.
They never call.
And I used to think like, oh, yeah, they like me right now. They'll like me in 2 hours. They never call back.
They don't even remember you. Yep. You got to call them. Oh,
yeah,
man.
exactly.
Dude, that's another golden nugget, man. There's so many golden nuggets on this podcast. That's another golden nugget. They never call you guys. They never call you.
They never come back.
Nope. They don't come back.
No, they never, as much as you think they will, they never come back.
Yep.
Well, that's awesome, man. Thank you so much for being here, Kyle. Before we close out, let people know where they can find and connect with you.
So my Instagram is Kyle Wade with 2 E's at the end of Wade. It's a little weird, but Kyle Wade. I'm on Instagram all the time. That's my primary social media. Facebook, it's just Kyle Wade. And that's about it. Twitter, I kind of use for like personal stuff, and Snapchat is more personal. So Instagram, for sure. I'm always on Instagram. Hit me up on there.
Awesome. Check out Kyle on Instagram. Let him know you heard the podcast. And thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard today here on Stay Paid, please go to iTunes. Throw us a 5-star rating. Make sure to leave a comment. You can also find our podcast in video form on youtube.com/ReminderMedia. Check out Kyle's hair and compare it to Luke. Let us know. Comment in the video who has the better hair.
Who has the better hair?
We already know I'm out of the running.
Dude, let me fix my hair right now. If we're gonna do this competition, I gotta fix my hair.
Hey, thank you guys. I appreciate it so much, man.
Make sure to tell someone else about the podcast today. And if you'd like to get hold of me or Luke, please email us at podcast@remindermedia.com or find us on Instagram or LinkedIn. And of course, you can check out Reminder Media on social media. We are at Reminder Media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest. For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Joshua Stike.
And I'm Luke Acree. And Kyle, again, thank you, man, so much for being on. Guys, I'm going to close out with this because I think he, has really just reminded us of the criticalness of understanding where you're getting your leads from and tracking your leads and tracking your metrics, especially when he talks about his, routine of success is really, I boil it down to the word of focus, meaning where your focus goes, your energy flows, as Tony Robbins would say. So it's critical that you understand where you're focusing, and especially in businesses like real estate, insurance, financial advisors, where are your leads coming from? And so I think the action item for this is sit down and ask yourself, where are my leads coming from? And make sure you write those out, FSBOs, expires, and then go down. And we have a leads calculator for this that we'll put in the show notes, but then plug in the numbers. I make 100 FSBO calls a day and I get 1 appointment. And then all of a sudden, guess what? Now Kyle can tell himself, how many FSBOs am I going to have to call to hit this 10 million in volume? And you can do the same in your own business. Guys, remember the difference between a top producer and a mediocre producer in every industry is top producers take action. So take action on that today.